All right, welcome to episode 18 of Stream Roulette. I'm Daniel Towns with Steph Broadbridge. How are you, Steph?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. And this time around, we watched Stranger Things.
Stranger Things.
So let's go.
Let's do it. Welcome to Stream Roulette. I'm Steph Broadbridge. I'm here with Daniel Towns. How are you, Daniel?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm so good. Tired. You're tired too?
Yeah, I am, but I don't really have a reason.
What do you mean? You've been busy?
Well, have I? Like, you've been busy in the sense that you've been on the road. Like, I've been doing stuff at home, but there's busy, and like I've had gigs at night, but I can't sit here and go, I've been so flat out when my girlfriend's working a full-time job and studying and has a very active social life, you know.
True.
And still does probably more than her share of things around here, you know. Like, there's nights when I'll go, oh God, because I'll have to drive somewhere. And I'm like, I've got to go sit in the car for 90 minutes. And then I'll say like the whole amount of time I'm going and like what I'm being paid. And it's like, all right, so I'll be going for like 3.5 hours. And like, and then I work out, and it's like, and she's like, just shut up and go.
But like what you're doing is harder than what I'm doing. Like, I have even less of an excuse to be tired because sure, I'm on the road, but someone is driving me around. Someone has organized my itinerary. I don't even need to decide what I'm having for lunch. That's covered. Like, I literally just have to be a person for a whole day and I'm tired.
Hey, controversial opinion, but I mean, I did most of that. No, actually, all right, here, controversial opinion. Commuting long distances is hard, and being a passenger over long distances is really hard too, because it's so fucking mindless and boring. And then it's dependent that where were you sitting in the van? How many cars were there, and where were you in the van?
There was 2 cars. Okay, I went in the back.
There was a tour manager car and a tech car.
I was in the tech car.
Were they vans or were they?
No, just a car.
Oh, so like just 4-seaters, both 4 5-seaters.
Like, 7-seater, but with luggage. They needed 2 cars.
Yeah, right. And then okay, because I always found that interesting, and like where people sit, but like because the driver's seat, you kind of like. It's shotgun. You're talking the whole drive, like to the driver. Like that's your job. You're given directions as well. Like, and like it's not a bad job, but if it's an 8-hour drive, because once someone takes it, no one wants to switch either. You know, like no one wants to sit in the front. I don't think on a long drive. The middle. I
was like, I'll go back. I don't care. Straight away.
The back's good because you can sleep.
Yep, on your phone.
Yeah,
in and out.
If you're in the middle, you kind of have to, especially if the person in the front tries to talk with the back. If you're in the middle, you've got to be like the relay between. Yeah. That's why I always usually try to get there a bit early for those things, and just you'll generally find me sitting in the van. Especially in those towns, where it's like, all right, we'll meet at the van at night in the morning, and I'm up pretty early generally anyway. Yeah. And then I'll get up and it's like, I'll look out the window and see the tour manager unlocking the van. It's like, all right, I guess I'll go. Guess I'm ready to go out now.
That's smart. I'm going to do that next week.
Oh, yeah. Well, especially, because some people are very, it's good. Some people don't mind where they go. But, like, I've had them. I definitely know, like, Al, Joel Penny. Like, that guy always either ends up putting on like heaps of people do, but they'll put on headphones or sleep, but they're in the middle, and then that just shuts down the entire van.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I think if you're in that middle seat, like, you do have, I know not everyone can sit in the back, but if the people behind you are chatting and like, having a conversation in the middle, you can't really just sleep. It should be like, hey, can we switch? So you can talk easier and I can sleep quietly.
True.
Otherwise, you've got to yell. There's a real, I don't know, travel. It's a, like we did a month in Western Australia. I told you about it, I think. Oh, but maybe it was on the Lost Stranger Things episode. This is a redo, by the way.
Yeah, Steph fucked up.
The actual not bad enough that we can't release it, but it's going on the Patreon where because the audio quality is not going to be as clear as these ones. But
yeah, we got double Daniel. I'm sorry.
So I came through on both tracks. But anyway, yeah. So I think we're a month together, and that was like WA, like so 8-hour drives, like consistently, and just like after a month, you do get on each other's nerves, even when you're just sitting in a car, because you've had every conversation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you've done that, and you've done all, and you're at the point where you need new experiences, like to talk about. You know, and we were playing a kind of toxic board game in the background. Not a toxic board game; it's a board game that kind of encourages a level of toxicity, and it just sows doubt about everyone, like so you don't trust, and then there's a lot of accusations. We had to stop playing it, basically.
Wow.
The Resistance, have you heard of that?
Oh, that's the one you were telling me about on Bullshit, the game show.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So that was like we had to stop playing it in the end. But I think that was also because it was on the end of a month of, you know, being on top of each other.
Yeah. Well, this was very wholesome. We were all in our 30s, early 40s, and we went and looked for whales. We got ice cream. We went to the Hunter Valley for lunch. It was honestly, you wouldn't believe we were comedians. It was embarrassing.
Oh,
it
no,
was
it's very civilised.
Yeah.
Those things are so much...
It was like a couple's retreat. It was
Those things are like, I don't think I've ever really partied on those things, but...
No one did. I went for one drink once, and that was like a big deal. Everyone was like, oh, are you feeling okay today? I'm like, I had one drink.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, there was always that after the show, go somewhere for a quiet drink or whatever, or someone's room.
Yeah.
But, like, other than that, like, I never really... Like, I was never the guy... I was never the guy throwing up, or you know what I mean?
No, you're working the whole time, right?
Oh, well, that's what I think. But it's I'm not...
Because, like, the gigs are sick, so everyone's going to do fine on stage. So it's all about, like, are you a pain in the ass? Like, were you late? Yeah. Did you make us go for a detour so you could get a vape? You know, like, were you that guy? Because then that guy's not getting asked back next year.
Yeah, like, it's just been... Yeah, like, it's just... Yeah.
Amenable.
Yeah, totally. And, easy going. And,
reliable and amenable.
Professional, yeah, no, totally. Yeah, and obviously that comes into it when it's being booked as well. Like, how do you feel about sitting in the car with such and such for 8 hours, like to the tour manager and the tech, or you know what I mean? Like, if you're not, definitely. Yeah, it's so much fun though. But I like it when it's civilized.
It's the best.
You know, I like them civilized. The only thing I don't, and it's not that I don't like it, it's just that there's always someone that's just like, you know, we're meeting at 9 and it's 9:15. They just, oh, sorry, I slept in. And they're just like, and then you hop in the van and they're like, oh, shit, can we get a coffee? And like, you've all been up for an hour and a half and you've all gone and gotten a coffee. And like, and then all of a sudden the day's an hour and a half behind because fucking someone can't set a fucking alarm.
Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Any comics listening, don't be that guy.
Don't be that person. Unless
doesn't matter how talented you think you are, that will not fly.
Well, anyway, there was one where we did, I won't say who the comic is, but that'd honestly make it better because it's probably no one that you'd expect it to be. But we were on one of those car rides, a long one, and they'd had a big night drinking the night before, and they were just mentioned in the car. Oh, they said, I don't feel too good. It was a really bumpy road, and they're like, oh, I'm not feeling too good.
Oh.
And I said, oh, well, don't think of like a salmon milkshake then.
Oh, that's helpful.
But that was just something that, like, we'd always say at school if someone was really I'm about to say at school if someone was really drunk. When we were 18 and allowed to drink, if someone was really drunk,
of course.
that's what we'd say, you know, and like just to try and encourage them to. But it never worked. Like, no one was ever sick. And then 2 seconds later, this person was just like, stop the van. And literally the van pulled over, opened up the door and just vomited it out the side of it.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was pretty gross.
All right, you have to tell me who it is afterwards.
Yeah. I'll tell you. They'd probably tell you. Yeah, but it was quite funny. I've never seen that work before. Well, how's
you got
this?
salmon milkshake to work.
how's this then? You want to talk about, you said to me, I'm busy too. So someone in the dog park group chat, right, you want to talk about busy. Yesterday, they went to Cairns and they did an Ironman.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so they've been training for it for, well, I don't know how long totally, but like I've known them for about a year and a bit. So like for, and like, yeah, we always knew it was coming up, but they went and did it. He went and did it yesterday. Like he's in his 20s, mid-20s, so he's younger and whatnot. But does that sound impressive to you or does that sound insane? Like, do you know what's involved in an Ironman?
It's everything, right? Isn't it like swimming and...
Yeah, swimming,
cycling. Is there
cycling,
an obstacle course as well or something?
Cycling, running and braking. No, but do you know the distances involved? Because I didn't know till yesterday. I thought it was shorter because I saw the Ironmans as the ones at the, the Nutri-Grain ones at the beach with the with the paddleboard thing. But this was more of like a triathlon one, I guess. But it's okay. So it's a 5.5 kilometre swim. Right. And just for context, when I swam competitively for 10 years, like 5.5 kilometres would be the minimum we'd do in a training session kind of thing. Like in 2 hours, and say up to seven and a bit would be the max. Yeah. Like, so 5.5 kilometres as a swim that's what competitive athletes are doing, like per session, right? And yeah, there's break times in there, but they're pushing their body, right? So for someone who's not a swimmer to be able to swim 5.5 kilometres in any amount of time, that's pretty impressive, right? Yeah. Then after that, it's a 180 kilometre bike ride.
Jesus.
Yeah, I know. That's like what, nearly Sydney to Newcastle, or?
Yeah, far out.
Yeah, right.
Like a 2-hour drive.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. 2 hours with no traffic, yeah. Mm-hmm. On a 90 kilometre hour road, yeah. All right, Daniel, you know maths.
You can divide things or time things by 2.
And I do that all the time when I'm driving, though, just I'm staring at it's like, all right, it's 110 kilometres an hour and I've got 35 kilometres to go. So if I can keep up this pace, I'll be home in, I'm trying to do my own calculations on the maps. Yeah. All right, and then at the end of all that, there's a marathon, like a full marathon.
Jesus.
Like a full 40-kilometre marathon. So I think it started at 6 a.m. yesterday. Yeah. Yeah. And he finished at, I think the text started going through again. It was between 9 and 9:30-ish kind of thing last night. Like, he finished it. Like,
so it's like a whole day.
Yeah, more like, like it's, well, what's that? That's like 6 to 9, so 12, 15 hours.
Oh,
and I found it quite funny that like everyone was like, because obviously everyone's saying, well done, congratulations, that's a massive achievement and all that, like, good on you. But like, I thought it was funny that no one asked, where'd you come?
Yeah.
Because no one cares, because it's such an achievement just to do it. It's like, all right, that's how much fucking exercise you got to do. Like, that's how hard you got to go before, people will stop asking where you came.
Oh, my God.
When the competition aspect of it is important.
That's so far.
Isn't it? It's insane. Like, I could not do it. But also, like, I was thinking...
I wonder what drives someone to do that.
Well, I'm trying to figure that out myself because I spent yesterday... like thinking about it a lot because we were all chatting about it, and and honestly, like the only reason I can think of is to test yourself physically and mentally to see if you're capable of it, because there is absolutely no other reason. Because if you want to get fit, like you can get a lot fitter with doing a lot less. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's not about fitness.
And you could do SAS training, like if you wanted to, like really test just, you know what I mean? There's other ways to work on your fitness. As like when we were saying before about the lengths of each of the things, they're all like 180k. That's probably an endurance bike ride. This is 3 hard things stacked on top of each other. So if you really,
all in a row.
Yeah. So if you really wanted to like do one of them, like you just do one of them. So I think doing all 3 of them, the only thing is to test yourself. Like, I can't think of any other reason other than to test yourself.
The only other reason I think to do that is if you're pretty good but not the best at all three of those things.
But surely there's got to be a fucking shorter version for those people then.
Yeah, like maybe.
Or if you're pretty good at three of those things and not the best at them, like, just don't be an athlete. Like, that's what I think, because it's so hard. Like, just train for fun, for your own fitness, but pushing yourself to, like, I just think it's it's impressive, but it's just a test. Like, can I handle this?
I bet he's not watching 2 seasons of Stranger Things.
Oh, and then talking about it.
Yeah.
No, but see, that was the thing. Like, even in the lead up to it and whatnot, like when he's not at the park, I'd be like, oh, where is he? Oh, he's on a 6-hour bike ride.
Oh.
You know, and like just, I've just been bringing him towels. You know, I need another towel. And another towel goes out.
Well, good on him.
No,
That's great.
Totally. Like, just having the discipline. But even like yesterday, because a lot of the messages obviously in the chat, they were all encouraging and all positive. But
of course.
Yeah, of course. But I only really chipped in like today, the day after, because like that's impressive. But the part I'm interested in is the
aftermath.
The why, which we're discussing, and the aftermath of it. Like, I'm keen to see what happens to his body now. Like, because, and mentally. Like, how, because I said it to my girlfriend, like, it'd be like not having a car accident, but putting your body through something like that has got to do something to you. Like, there's going to be exhaustion first, like yesterday.
Yeah.
Like, you know, but he probably couldn't sleep afterwards or he just... You know, like it's I don't know. Like, I'm more interested in what happens because of it, not the event, you know, and the recovery.
Yeah. But he's like, what, did you say 25?
Yeah.
So he'll probably recover pretty quick.
Yeah, but doing
annoyingly, it'll be like, he'll be fine after a couple of days.
Yeah, probably. That would be pretty funny. Because I just know for me, usually the pain doesn't start until the day after the day after. So today I'd be sore, but tomorrow I'd be fucking sore.
Right.
You know, like tomorrow's like, all right, everything that I kind of felt yesterday is really set in.
Yeah.
And then it just, I
don't know. Never pushed myself physically in my entire life.
Not that. Oh, the worst thing I ever did when we swam, I was thinking about this morning actually. We did a thing called, and it was I only did it once because it was one of the places I swam, and they did a thing there called Hell Week, right? Mm. So we were there, and we swam from 5 to 7. It was in the school holidays as well. So this is how I spent 1 week of my school holidays when I was in my teens. At some point, my early teens, it was so 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. was like swimming.
Yeah.
And then we got up and had like a light breakfast kind of thing. And then 8:30 to 10, we went for a run. Yeah. Like however many kilometres that was, which I fucking hated. Then from 12 to 2, we swam again. Yep. And then then we had another couple of hours off, and then we did weights. Like we'd do an hour of like weights and that kind of exercise, and then we'd train again for another 2 hours. So it was 6 hours of swimming, a run, and a weight session every day for like 6 days. No. For 6 days. And like that I was thinking that almost borders on child abuse, doesn't it? Because the swimming would have been close to 20 Ks. So it would have been between 15 and 20 Ks. Wow. Like a day, plus the run, plus the weights. But like we were essentially at the pool. My parents were dropping me off at, 4:55 a.m. and picking me up at 6:35 p.m. Ugh. You know, like it was, they called it Hell Week. And everyone's, you doing Hell Week? Are you going to, like, and there were T-shirts, I survived Hell Week and all this kind of stuff. And it was like, honestly, I wouldn't say it did anything for me in the sense of, like once
we went to band camp and I had to, like, play piccolo for, like, 3 hours straight one time.
Really? Well, that's still you're using your lungs.
Yeah, no, I mean, sure. I had 3 notes per song, but yeah, it was hard. It was hard. You weren't there.
So what, band camp exists?
It really exists, yeah.
Yeah, right. We had swimming camps too, like where you'd go, Yeah. Yeah.
You can do anything camp.
Yeah. Yeah, it was always kind of fun too. Like, because you do music outside of school as well?
Yeah, I was in a couple of choirs and stuff. I was pretty cool.
So were you one of the people at school then that had an outside school circle of friends?
I wasn't friends with them because I was too young, but yeah, I was just like an overachiever.
Yeah, right. Because I definitely had like, because I swam from 7 years old, I had like my school friends and my swimming friends.
No.
You know, so there was the kind of double up.
Didn't have either.
That's patreon.com/streamroulette podcast. So anyway, Stranger Things, the meat of the episode. Well, our opinion's not going to change on it, but I can honestly say the first 20 minutes of the podcast is definitely different.
Yeah. Oh, and also I've watched an extra season since.
Oh, I was going to say, where are you up to now?
Yeah, and that was like me being completely unaware that we were going to redo this. That was just off the bat.
I had fucking no idea either. So then we were up to what? You'd done a season and a half?
I'd done, 1 season and 3 eps, and now I've finished season 2.
And you're enjoying it. And now you've completely finished season 2?
Yep.
Yeah? Have you done any of 3 yet?
I'm too scared to because everyone said it was shit.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, to be fair, someone else in the group chat, they really like season 3.
Okay.
Like, she really likes it. And she's similar. Yeah. She's a similar demographic to yourself.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
What's my demographic?
I think you should try it. I think you should try it yourself.
All right, I'll give it a go.
She's a woman your age.
Does she have kids?
Well, no.
Okay.
No.
No, just the only reason I asked is because you mentioned that it was a very base, like it became very much about the teenagers and their story.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I imagine that would be interesting if you were a parent because you're like, oh, God.
I think you should just see for yourself, especially.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, but all right, so let's go. What's your take? So first I did season 4 because I've seen the first 3 and you dived in at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I loved it.
You loved it. Season 1.
Loved it. Season
fantastic.
2, really liked it. Wouldn't say loved it, but really liked it.
Yeah, season 2, yeah. It's got the, yeah. Okay, all right. And you're too scared to start season 3. Interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. The punk elements were kind of pissing me off. Like, the gang got a bit weird.
Well, I feel like that's where it got me. Like, when it spreads out and they start bringing in the... Is season 2 the one with the skater guy and the sister?
Yes.
And, like, at the school? Like,
and he's at least 45.
Oh, yeah. See, because even that was a bit of a thing for me to go, oh, hang on, who are these people?
Yeah.
Like, especially when they're new major kind of characters. But, The Wire and other shows have shown us that you can always add new characters whenever you want.
True, but they didn't seem to serve a purpose for me.
Yeah,
other than to drive narrative, because then they could explain what was happening to the girl.
Yeah. And a lot of the times I felt like... I guess part of my thing with it and why it lost me as well was the stakes were really high in the first episode. It was that kid stuck in that, like, inside,
Yeah.
And, like, it was the mother trying to get a kid out. It had all that tension.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, like all those perfect
like
ingredients.
Like a crime thriller.
Yeah, but if they kept the whole thing about him in there.
Yeah.
Like, that probably might have been harder to stretch out for this duration, but I feel like they made the scope of it bigger. Like, afterwards, to, like, make it affect more than just, like, one family or one group of people, and then it just started to become
that's a good
too much.
point. Yeah, because the plot didn't change, it just got bigger. So it's like there was one animal before and now there's 12 of them. Like,
yeah, and they're different too. Like, yeah. That's where it started to get me. Like, as part of the thing with why Die Hard is so successful, is it because it has all those elements, and, like, it is essentially a love story at the end. Like, it's a guy trying to get his wife at Christmas, like, you know what I mean, trying to be with his wife at Christmas, and all that other stuff's happening in the background. Like, it's a Christmas movie, it's a comedy, it's an action. Yeah. It's got it's got all those, you know, some movies, it's like what we were saying about Love on the Spectrum. It's like all TV is formulaic and all movies are formulaic, but some things get all the ingredients of the formula. Whereas some will only get 1 out of 5, like, or however many that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to have
sometimes you can see it, and sometimes it's like when you go back and analyze it, you realize it, and that's the kind you want.
Oh, it's that lightning in a bottle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, like
you don't want to notice it when you're watching it.
No, but you just, it's like, so when it's Succession or whatever, they suck you in and you just...
Yeah.
Because I can honestly, in your lifetime, how many TV shows would there be? Because this is definitely something I said about Stranger Things on the original take, was it was the first 2 seasons. The first one especially was definitely one of those ones where I was like, we were just talking about it.
Yeah.
And like talking about it to other people and, oh my God, have you seen this? But not in a way of like the Tiger King guy or whatever that was.
No.
This was in a like, oh my God, this is fucking brilliant. Have you seen this? Yeah.
Like admiring the work and the creative output rather than be like, these guys are psychos.
Yeah. How many shows in your life do you reckon there have been where you've like discussed them with that level of enthusiasm with people?
Maybe 5, 10.
Yeah. I'd be between 5 and 10, I reckon. What would yours be then?
Buffy.
Yeah.
Veronica Mars.
Yeah.
Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
I'm aging myself with this. The Wire, Sopranos. I don't know. There's a few more.
Is that till today? Like, would you still say that?
Yeah.
Like they're still, okay, because mine are all those kind of shows too, where and they're still things that even today I would go, oh yeah, The Wire, or oh yeah, Arrested Development, or
I'll watch them again.
Curb Your Enthusiasm, or
Seinfeld.
Yeah. I watch them heaps. I rewatched Seinfeld recently.
I'm watching it right now. Yeah.
Like it's like some of it, it's a fun watch, isn't it? Like it's
so good.
Especially when you haven't seen it for like a few years.
Yeah, and what amazes me is how many people have jokes currently about his observations in that show, and they have no idea.
Oh, and they'd probably mock him too for being old school.
Yeah. And I'm like, man, they did a whole episode on that joke that you have that you think is really clever and original.
Yeah, they stretched it out into a 30-minute sitcom.
Seinfeld did it.
Well, it's like the black box bit, right? He was one of the first people that kicked that around. The best take I ever saw on that joke, the black box one.
Yeah.
It was Arj Barker. It was so good, though. It was at that. There was the 1 year there was a thing called the World's Funniest Island, and it was a comedy festival that was tried to set up on Cockatoo Island in the middle of the harbour.
Oh, yeah.
Like, as a place to do comedy, it was phenomenal, and they got people over there. So all the shows had people at them, and but like it was putting it on logistically would have been a nightmare. Like they had to get ferries. Like so stuff was taken away, resources were taken to get people over there, and anyway, like on the main stage, it was just like you got up, you did 20 minutes, and it just kind of kept rolling. But then there was all these like shows in little bunker rooms and bars, and like it was very cool. You could camp.
That is
there.
very cool.
You could camp there if you wanted to, Anyway, so he gets up and he mentioned something. I can't even remember how it came up, but he said something about how Seinfeld first did the black box joke, and then other people did it, and then it just became this like the hacky bit that it's perceived as to be today kind of thing. But there was a time when it was like when it was first done, and he's like but anyway, and then he started talking about he'd just watched Star Wars, and this was a long bit. Like it went for about 7 minutes, he like explains things. And I think he had his hood on his head, like for some reason. It was the middle of the day. Like there was all these other things going for it. So he's talking about, he's explaining this scene in Star Wars. And there's one thing where one of this is going to show my level of appreciation for the series, where one of the spaceships shoots another spaceship with a laser. But it hits a part of the other spaceship that can't be destroyed or something. Yeah. And he's like, why don't they build the whole spaceship out of whatever it is? Yeah. And I was just like, oh, that's brilliant, because it was such a long run up. Like, it was like it was about a 7-minute bit. It was such a long run up for such a bad joke, but it already acknowledged at the start was the bad, like had become such a bad thing. But it was just his commitment and his animation in between in that whole, in the performance, in the time in between that bit that was just like made it stand out. It was really good. It was really funny.
I love commitment to a bad bit.
Oh, same.
That makes me laugh harder than anything else.
Oh, yeah.
Or just like a really dramatic act out. I'm a sucker for a dramatic act out.
I find them hard.
I can't do them. That's why I love them.
But like some people really do them well.
Oh, yeah. Well, I've been touring with Brett Blake and he's the king of it.
Yeah?
He's got this one bit where he's got a dog in a cage and he kicks the cage and I can see the cage. I can see the dog. Like it's just, I'm living it while he's doing it. It's incredible.
I find it really hard too. Matt O'Kine was very good. And still is very good. Like I always would, like the one that always got me. And it was all of them, but it was the one where it was quarter chicken and chips. You know that one? And he'd just be doing the guy flipping the grill. And it was always little things or just walking through the door. But like he'd just walking through a little... Yeah, and I guess they're just different skill sets because I'm at the point where it's like I can't commit to it.
Yeah.
Like I even say it sometimes on stage. You know, some comedians, they're up here and they're talking about mixing a bowl of cake and you can see them mixing the cake, you know, and it's like, I don't want to move. You know, I remember one time Ray Badger had said to me he had a bit where he had to like, it was about a gig in a country town and there was only like one place in town where you could get phone service and you had to put your leg up on this pot plant and all this kind of stuff. And he's like, and we were, and he's like, man, sometimes I can't even fucking lift my leg up the whole way to pretend there's a pot plant there. It's so hard to commit, you know? Like, but it's just, some people just don't have that, like the performative, the physical performative side of it, you know?
I love it.
I said it once to, I did one of the road shows in Hong Kong and Singapore with Frank Woodley from Lano and Woodley.
Yeah, he's the best.
And like and I said to him, man, I'd love to be able to do what you do. And he just went, I'd love to be able to do what you do. And I went, really? And he goes, yeah, well, I think everyone wants what they can't do, you know? He goes, and then, like I just wish I had that physicality. And he said to me, he goes, but if you can paint a picture with words... And I'm like, oh yeah, I'd never looked at it like that. But then, you just want what you can't do, don't you?
Absolutely.
Physicality adds so much. Because there was a time, and it was around that time with O'Kine, where I started like to experiment a little bit around with moving around more on stage.
Yeah.
And I noticed it was an open micer at a gig, and they did a joke, and it was just an average run-of-the-mill joke that you've probably heard about a million times about the speed limit in school zones.
Yeah, I know the joke.
Yeah, and the joke got a good laugh, right? Like it did.
Yeah.
But then they acted it out, like just driving past the school slowly with a creepy grin on their face, and that got a round of applause. And it's like, that's what stood out to me, not that it was like something that I want to do, that it's just a way to elevate a bit. Like to get another laugh and whatever. Whereas I try and do it verbally. Like if you show them what you just told them, you can milk a bit more out of it.
But if you sell it with your like physicality, that's for everyone. That's for people that don't speak English very well. That's for people that didn't understand or weren't listening.
The Umbilical Brothers. Like
exactly. Like it's universal.
Asian
it's for kids.
And, yeah.
It's for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and comedy essentially, and that's where it does become hard with hour-long shows and whatnot, because you are, like, it is a boring, visually it's boring compared to music or because you're not looking at lights and you got to stare at one person for an hour.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why it's easier sometimes to sit through, I think, an hour show with a story, because it's the story that keeps your interest. Whereas if someone's just up there banging out jokes about anything for an hour, you've got to really like the person, or you've never seen comedy before. Now, you know what I mean? Like if you're inside comedy, like of course people within the industry like shows that have a fucking story because they've seen so much comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That I can't sit through a comedy show. Like I can't sit through the best comedy show for an hour and a half. Because it's just, you're analysing, you've seen other stuff. As soon as they mention a topic that someone else has a joke about, you're starting to think about the other person's take on that topic. And, it's just hard to sit there and judge it with a level of...
I think comedy shows should be 50 minutes long or need to have a break at 50 minutes. Because 50 minutes is the longest you can go after breaking the seal of having a drink.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
At 50-minute mark, I had to pee every show.
Sarah Millican's show, I don't know how long she hires the venue for, but her shows are like she does, it's either a 40 and a 50 or two 45s or two 50s.
Yep.
It might be like a 40 and a 50 or a 50 and a 40, but she'll do that. She has a break.
Yeah, she's got mums in her crowd. She understands. They're not holding it in.
And also, she's big theatres, she's also of the frame of mind, I think, of 60 minutes isn't enough. She wants to give them, they're having a night out, so it's it is a 90-minute show. Her Edinburgh becomes, Edinburgh for her is just like a warm-up, I feel, for when it becomes the 90 to 100. But that's we talk about right at an hour a year. Imagine trying to turn over that kind of stuff, every couple, but still,
No.
But I think honestly, I think the perfect length these days for a comedy show, like a solo show, long, double time, where it's got to be really good, or just 45 minutes.
Yeah,
Get in and
50's perfect. Otherwise, you spend the last 10 minutes while they're trying to wrap up and have their moments needing to pee and you're not listening.
Well, do you know what else it is as well, I think, from an audience perspective? Because you know how people always talk about how, there's that 40-minute fucking lull. Yeah. And you've got to do something at 40 minutes to keep them engaged, to keep them... what I think it is I think after 40 minutes, people have realised and figured out, your joke per minute and their enjoyment per minute ratio of, how it's going. They're like, all right, so... and if it's good, it's good, but if it's not, and they're like, all right, so there's a big laugh every 7 minutes. There's some shit stories, there's this, I haven't really enjoyed it this far. And then that makes that last 20 minutes feel even longer, because you're not, you've already formed an opinion. By 40 minutes in, you've formed a very strong opinion on, and turning it around at that point is pretty much impossible.
Yeah.
What's the latest you've ever seen someone turn a gig around?
35.
Really? Mm-hmm. From bad to good, I mean, though.
Yeah, 35 minutes.
Yeah, right. Jesus Christ. Who was dying for 35 minutes?
They weren't dying. They just didn't get them for 35 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Well, who was that?
And neither had anyone in the room prior to them.
Oh, right. So it wasn't a solo show then?
No, they were headlining for 45.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Who was that? Where was that?
That was Burner at Happy Endings.
Okay. Yeah, right. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, wow. Yeah, that's an interesting mix too. Especially if it's a weekend crowd there. Mm-hmm. And yeah, right. Okay.
He was the only one that got him.
In the whole night?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it took him 35 minutes.
Have you ever done a gig where no one has?
Yeah, heaps.
That's not an open mic though.
Yeah, heaps.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I couldn't say there's one where no one has. I don't know if there is where no one has. One of the best gigs I ever saw was Rod Quantock. You know who that guy is?
No.
He's a Melbourne guy, older guy, but during the comedy festival, he'll roll out occasionally now, and he does these walking tours of Melbourne. I think he's one of the OG. He's one of the OG originals. Mm-hmm. He's a and he's one of those guys that takes a break and comes back. And anyway, he did a run at the Comedy Store, and I was supporting him, so I was doing 25, 30 minutes, and one weekend, so the weekend crowd, Friday and Saturday night, they were young, they were a drinking crowd, and his stuff was all political, and it was about political parties and government and all that kind of stuff, and he had pulled the curtain back at the Comedy Store, and he had chalk, and he was writing all this stuff on the wall, just talking about stuff that they were not interested in, and I wasn't interested in it, but he was so good at it. He was so good at it. And then the audience realised they were like, oh, hang on, this is
Yeah.
good. Like,
Yeah.
we've got to go to his level.
Yeah.
You know, like he's not coming down to ours.
No.
Yeah. We've got to go up to his kind of thing. Yeah, no, it was fucking really good.
Beautiful to watch.
Oh, yeah, especially when it's something that, I worked with someone once in the UK and she was not having a good gig the first 10 or more minutes. Just not going well. Like painfully bad though, like where like people are looking at acts that have already been on. Like you can do something about it.
Yeah.
They're like, can you? And then she said something like, oh, look, I'm sure a lot of you people in here tonight hate your jobs, but I bet you not one of you would trade places with me right now. And that just like cut the tension and then just started riffing and being honest, and it turned around. And all it did was call in the moment, because it was a weird layout. Like she was on first in a restaurant kind of gig, you know, like it was kind of one of those weird environments. Yeah. And then, but yeah, she called
Sometimes they just don't need comedy, you know?
What's
sometimes
that?
Sometimes I walk into a gig and I'm like, this doesn't need to be a comedy show. What they really want is karaoke.
Oh, yeah, sometimes. Yeah. Totally. Yeah.
Let's just not do it. Like, this isn't for anyone at this point.
Oh, it's who's making the money on it. That's who it's.
I know, but it's never.
No, it's never
me.
us. It's never us. But that's the reason the show's going.
I know, but like, you know.
Like, you know, when we rock up to gigs and go, why are we doing this? Why is there a gig here? It's because the venue on a comedy.
Yeah.
And they agreed to pay a certain amount to put it on. And then someone's taken that to send us out into the trenches.
Yeah.
But then it's our own fault in the sense of like, I mean, the power's there for all of us to go out and find those venues and put on our own things. And
yeah, I know. But who wants to do that? That sucks.
Yeah, no, look, it's more work. No, it's work, isn't it? So, like, if there's someone that doesn't want to do the gigs, it's prepared to put the gigs on.
Yeah, I'm busy watching 2 seasons of Stranger Things. I don't have time.
Yeah, so you're gonna. So, do you think you're gonna jump into 3?
Maybe if there's another lockdown or something.
Oh, really? So you're not even gonna go ahead? No.
Nah.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. This is very different than to the other record we did. So what?
Yeah.
It changed so much in the last half of season 2 that you were just like, you're not.
I just don't care what happens next. I'm happy with the conclusion.
Okay, because I'll tell you then, like the scope gets bigger, and there's even more new faces kind of stuff.
I mean, I figured, seeing as we've had 11 and 8, that there's probably more people.
Yeah.
So, they don't say 11 and 8 if there's only 2 of them.
That's true. That's good. That's very good. That's very funny. I thought that was a good classic. Hot takes.
Yeah.
Oh,
so next week?
Oh, yeah. What do we got next week?
So next week we are watching The Good Doctor.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Fantastic. And what's that about?
A talented surgeon with autism and savant syndrome joins a prestigious hospital where he faces skepticism from both the patients and staff.
There you go. So I guess that came up because of Love on the Spectrum.
I think so.
So there's two things that are similar to the other episode.
I have a 98% match with this show, so Netflix thinks I'm going to like it.
After you said that, I started paying attention to that. And I've got a 98% match with every fucking show.
Really?
Pretty much. Like, I think they just chuck, like everyone that I look for, or that gets given to us like this.
Oh.
And it's like, how do you know? Like that, what? Because I watched 3 episodes of, what was that, Greenleaf?
Yeah.
You think I'm going to like this other one, you know?
Yeah. We'll see.
Yeah, maybe it's 98% chance this is the one you were looking for. I don't know. So would you recommend, what's your recommendation on Stranger Things though? Because look, for me, I'm not a sci-fi person.
No,
but
same.
The first season got me for all those reasons, like that it was that it felt like it had all those ingredients and all those high stakes and whatnot. And then, gradually it just kind of lost me. And the sci-fi is a big part of it. And the fact that it becomes even more horror-esque when there's more than one thing, as you said.
Yeah, and tween.
Yeah, and lanky, awkward tweens.
So, yeah, I would definitely recommend it if you haven't seen it.
See, there's all those lanky, awkward teen jokes on the other episode too, isn't there? All right. Okay. Well, I'd say check out the first season if you haven't.
Yeah, if you definitely.
Sorry, we tried. We really tried. It's the biggest one on there too. It's the highest. It was number 1 in like 90 countries I saw. Actually, here's something. I wrote this down.
What?
Because I thought that was really funny and I almost tweeted it. And then I thought, no, I'm going to save this. And I was going to say it on our next episode. But seeing as we are now doing this episode, where the fuck did I write it down? Come on.
The suspense is killing me.
No, fuck, is it in my phone? Do I have to... All right, hang on. This is going to stay open, isn't it? Oh, no.
Man, this is going to be so good now.
Or did I take a photo of it? Oh, no. Or maybe I just thought of it.
Yep.
And didn't write it down. But it was funny. It was funny. Oh, no, here it is. Here it was. It was... Okay. It was the quote that they were using. This isn't it written down, but essentially the quote that they were using to promote season 4 of Stranger Things on Netflix, because it's their own production. They can sneak in after it's been uploaded and put on there and change the synopsis and the description to current feedback.
Yeah.
And it's a quote, and the quote is irrelevant, but the quote is obviously great because they've chosen to use it in their promotion of the season 4 of the show. But wherever it came from is something called Ready, Steady, Cut. Uh-huh. Like, that is not a major publication. You know, it's like a comedian using a quote from fucking...
Funny Tone.
Yeah. Oh, that's where I put it. I did it as a tweet draft. There we go.
Ah.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. It was if Netflix are using a quote from Ready, Steady, Cut to promote Stranger Things season 4, which they are, then it has definitely fallen off. That was my point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They'd be using fucking like respected publication if... Yeah.
My friend Steve gave it 5 stars.
Your friend who? Oh, right. Yeah. Like, that only works if you actually take, all the... Oh, wow, that one was by Ding Dong 42.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Oh, boy.
We're sitting at home going, oh, wow, Ready, Steady, Cut. Really? I was wondering to see what their take was.
Always. That's my go-to whenever I do an app. Check out them.
I'm glad it was suggested to us, though, like the show. Like, in the sense of if it is the biggest thing on there.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's good to see our take on, and, not part of the... however many people in those 90 countries where it's number 1. But we've contributed to that as well.
And what do you mean?
Well, to its numbers.
Oh, yeah. True.
Like for a podcast. So you can take 2 of those views off. Netflix. All right. Well, that's the end of that episode, I reckon. What do you think, Steph?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I was sorry again about the redo.
No, don't mind. I think they were both different enough. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Both fun in their own way. All right. And yeah, we'll be back next time with what? The Good Doctor?
The Good Doctor.
All right. Let's do it. Okay. See ya.
Bye.